hi guys, and smash that subscribe button or whatever. I'm just coming on really quick because I actually got a comment on one of my videos recently, and then when I look at it, I realize that the resolution, for whatever reason, got hosed so bad you can't even see what's going on. So I'm gonna do a little 20 or 30 minute video, and once it posts, go in and see what it looks like. Pretty much cleared out over here. If you haven't seen any of these, basically what's going on, I decided once I figured out that each block in Minecraft is actually intended to represent a meter cubed. I decided that based on that information, I could go on and actually build things using real-world dimensions. So that thing way up there on top of that hill is a house that I built based on the footprint of the White House here in the US. I'll go up there in a minute and check it out. And then from there I decided to get more ambitious and do a building based on the footprint of the Empire State Building in New York City. And what I found when I started doing this one is that it is a hell of a lot bigger than I thought it was. I picked a large mountain. Oh, also, when I started the map, I set everything to the pretty extreme values as far as mountain, what is it? Some kind of topography setting where the mountains are as high and as severe as they can be, and the valleys are as low and severe as they can be. So while I was working on that, I decided that I would probably need a large mountain to work from in order to do the Empire State Building. So while I was working on that, off to this side where we're standing now, there was a really tall, really slender mountain, and initially I was thinking I would just build it around that mountain and maybe carve the mountain into the shape. And what I found is that this is a heck of a lot bigger than even that mountain was at the time. So yeah, that's kind of where it is right now. I've messed up a couple times between just not doing the math right, and then obviously this thing has taken a long time to work on, partially because it's all done in survival, so I wear out tools all the time, but then also because I'm a dad who works full-time, so I end up just doing little bits here and there. So what I found was I would go into it saying, alright, I'm going to do this today, and I would go through and try to do it, and then get interrupted, and then forget what I was doing when I came back. So I ended up with not actually building to the correct dimensions, or I would stop in the middle of doing something and then not realize it, and then when I would come back I would just build off of where I had started instead of realizing that I wasn't done. So like this section here in the ceiling is actually where I had one of the walls for the building set. And then I went in and started doing something, I don't remember what, and I needed to find center on the building, which is pretty much where these entry doors are, both on each side. And when I measured from center to either end, I found that it wasn't in fact centered, because this wall was not anywhere near where it needed to be. It actually needed to be clear over there. So eventually I'll go in and knock this out, but it messed up all kinds of stuff. I've got this weird section over here is actually a beach section, which I guess I can go out and show. I had a section where some water was, and instead of removing the water, I figured I would just incorporate it into the building. So that's what this over here is. And again, as far as height goes, I just decided to go from sea level, or where all this water was initially, up. So I And instead of removing it all together, I figured I would just glass it in. I've got to remove this whole wall here. This is what's left of it, but I'd already put all this glass work in and stuff like this for all this, so I've got to take all that out now. I've moved all this over, but you can see it's a, so we'll go from this wall. It's a big footprint, so we're going to go from this wall. We'll go ahead and just take a little jog over here to the other end of the building, and again you can see the White House up there. That's a lake that I found while I was removing the mountain, in the middle of the mountain, so I figured I would just leave it up there. That guy up there, so we'll get over here first so you can get an idea as to how far we walk. So yeah, that's a long ways. Anyway, that sheep up there has been there since the mountain was whole. And to give you an idea as to how big the mountain was, he wasn't even, it was like an outcropping on the mountain, so like the main mountain was here, then it came down and there was a drop, and then there was another little finger sticking up here. At that point where he's standing right now, that was maybe a quarter of the total height of the mountain it was standing in front of, which, as you can see, now no longer exists. Oh, running out of daylight. I don't like dealing with things that hurt me, so I was running into an issue where I couldn't go to sleep because there would be monsters nearby. So I did some digging around, and basically you can't sleep if there's a mountain within, or a mob within 10 blocks, I think it said, so roughly 10 meters. So I just dug a hole really, really deep. Put a couple of beds in it in case my kids are playing, so I can sleep and start up again. One of the other things that happened, again, this whole thing is done in survival, or at least it was supposed to be. But if you ever see any of my videos where I actually started recording from when I actually launched, you'll see that it comes up with a warning saying that it was saved in creative mode. What happened was, I used to let my kids come on here and just do whatever they wanted, because I figured, hey, it's Minecraft, I can fix it and do whatever. What I didn't realize was that normally when they play in creative mode because they don't want to have to deal with mobs and everything. Well, they came on here in creative mode, and my son actually found these things that'll spawn whatever mobs you want, and he decided that spawning a bunch of creepers would be awesome. And this is, and again, this is more of what I've been working on. As you can see, it's been quite the undertaking. Anyway, he decided that a creeper generator thing, or whatever it's called, would be fun to put right under the front entry of the White House building, which is what we're going into right now. And in doing so, proceeded to obliterate the front of the building. And yeah, so I got to go in and rebuild all that, which I haven't completed totally yet. So this is the building that we based on the White House. Oh, look at that, somebody left my doors open. So yeah, I got to rebuild the front of this, which of course, being as it was in creative mode at the time, I went ahead and just left it in creative mode and did. And then put it back into survival mode to continue playing, but because it was saved in creative mode while all that was going on, now I can no longer receive trophies or any other things for things that I do in the game. So this again is the building that's based on the dimensions of the White House that we were looking up from the floor of the Empire State Building build. I like coming up here so that you can kind of get a perspective, or excuse me, a better perspective on what we're talking about dimensions wise. So that's what we're working on here. There is the entry So the stairs that we walked up when we came out. um, and yeah, all those bricks, those are done with smelting cobblestone, which obviously I'm not in any short supply of. And then putting it into the brick and building them, just going one at a time, going up. I'm going to see how high I can get. From what I understand, the roof, or excuse me, the ceiling of the game is only X number of blocks high, and I don't remember how big it is. But I'm going to go up as high as I can, and in the meantime, just add stuff along the way. My buddy came up with a cool idea that I should put a roller coaster in it, so I figured I'll probably do that over here in this corner. I'll knock all this floor area out. As you saw in the beginning of this video that I'm on right now, this whole area has been cleared out underneath. I still have to do that over here. You can tell where the difference is. These are all, I want to say they're polished andesite blocks over here. And I'm just gradually moving my way over, so this will all be cleared out as well. And then I'm just going to pick a section, this whole corner over here, that I'm going to not have a roof in, and just build up. I started getting a second floor on just because I wanted to do something other than knocking down a mountain. So I started adding this a little bit here. This is 3 blocks high, which is, I believe, roughly 9 feet. So I think that's a decent ceiling for a floor in a building, whereas that the first floor was just as high as I could reach without standing on anything. So I don't even know for sure how many blocks high it is. It's pretty tall though, as you can see from the entrance. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Again, this whole thing was all built in survival mode also. I really like wood and stone together. If I ever get to build my own house someday, I would like to do the same thing. So when I just did this with as big as it is, I figured I should just put a bunch of rooms in it. I really don't have any use for them, obviously. I'm not creative enough to go in and find a whole bunch of stuff to do, so there's this over here, just some rooms. Some of them feed into each other. You go out here onto this, bunch of glass, more wood, stuff. And that's what happens. So where the hell are we? Alright. So my kids would laugh at me right there. Wouldn't say I die a lot, but I'm definitely far from immortal. So yeah, now I get to go all the way back up there. Actually, you know what? Let's go a different way. So we're back inside the Empire State Building. We're down inside that long tunnel. Hole, basically. I put this together. I found a pretty decent sized lava deposit, and I wanted to use that for smelting, so I built a tunnel to get down to it. And that's where this eventually leads to. This is where that lava was, and if I'm not mistaken, well, we'll finish going all the way down to the end of the tunnel. Oh, hey. So, yeah, there's not much left of it now. But I think did a side tunnel off of this to go and connect with, yeah, here we go. So this is in the it's in a room off the side of the White House. So we will use that to get back into the White House now. And as I was digging down, if I found it was a level that had a lot of good stuff in it, whether it be iron ore or something else, I went ahead and put a bunch of torches up just kind of to draw my attention to it in the future. So, you know, if I get bored digging the giant hole that is the Empire build, I might go down one of those tunnels and see what I can find, or if for whatever reason I want to use steel wool for some... crap. Looks like he found me yet again. Of course, now I don't have any wood or anything with me, or excuse me, bread. Anyway, so yeah. Go to one of those areas and see what I can dig up and find. I don't really use a lot of iron tools or steel tools or anything, because what I found is basically they dig quicker, but in digging quicker they also they're more expensive to me out, and it's just not worth the aggravation to go around and find the iron ore only to have something that's going to wear out relatively fast anyway, especially on the scale that the big build is being done on. Like an iron pickaxe or something like that, you'll dig really fast, but it still wears out, and I'm still left going back to the stone anyway. And being as the stone is so easy to come by and available in such high volume, there's just, I don't really see the value in the iron tools. Yeah, some may disagree. I'm not very good at this. That's just kind of the way I look at it. Alright, so anyway, I'm back to looking at this area up here. Let's fix that. So yeah, I like the I don't know, I guess you kind of call them chandeliers, and the big timbers, that kind of thing. I think it's just another big room, yeah. Smaller room. Those are my kids building things on here. They each built their own house. I think my daughter might have a dog, or wolf. Gotta pronounce the L. Saved in one of hers. I think I may have some stoves or something, or I mean, what do they call them? Furnaces. In some of these rooms, maybe, from when I was building all this. But, oh hey. Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of glass in this build, so I had a furnace up here so I could make the all the windows. There's actually a really huge sand mountain over there, so glass is not something I have to stress about getting. Just adding windows, that doesn't do anything but add in some light, because all it does really is just look up onto that roof up there. But we'll see if I can actually get some sleep and make the night go away. Bed here is usually the one I use when I'm up here. But yeah, when I was putting the White House together, I had my work area going here, which what I thought was what I thought at the time was a large number of furnaces, but I have way more than that downstairs. So I had started trying to, this, if I'm not mistaken, I think it reaches out as far as, oh, that's right. My daughter gave me a mailbox. I thought that was nice. And my son Turner labeled that for me. I thought that was nice of him. I wonder if I should see if I have anything in my mailbox. Oh, look at that. She's too good to me. So yeah, I'm gonna build this out and have a really nice, cool covered area out here. I don't know what that's called, but anyway, yeah, that'll be out here. I also thought it might be cool to have some stuff that would actually look like flying buttresses, sort of. So these are going to build up with some portions that come out and connect with the main building. This was also one of the first things I did when I was working on this map, was build a bridge leading between this mountain here and where I ended up putting the Empire State, or excuse me, the White House. You can see the corner of the state building over there. And you can see that's a long ways down. It's one of my kids figuring out a way to get up quicker. I would, when I'd start a map, because I've gotten lost before on different maps, I would build a tower as tall as I could get it, and then just line the entire thing with torches so I could find my way back if need be. That's what that was. Obviously, it's not the tallest thing anymore. So yeah, when I made the map, I just went looking around trying to figure out where I would want to start, and I found this cool archway just as part of the map, just a canyon, and started building in that and then built this arch as an entry to it. But I came through that entry here and found this little valley down in here. Excuse my constantly clearing my throat. And just started building down in here. I've got different areas. I think this was for food, maybe. I just built little houses into the sides of the mountain for different things. Workshop, house. I think there might be one over here with a bed, maybe. Oh, no, that's my kids. Yeah, so I don't remember that being there, but yeah, they built that. Oh, that's right, this was my house for when I was down here. Made it out of stone because I got tired of my stuff getting blown up. And I was kind of proud of this. In order to keep a steady supply of wood going, I planted all these trees really close to each other, and then obviously you can only reach up so high from standing on the ground. So I'll show you what I mean here. So that's as high as I can reach. So what I did at that point then is I built this superstructure around it that only went up as high as that level, so that I can then go up to that level and get the rest of the tree, although part of my stairs seem to be missing now. Anyway, so yeah, so then you can go up here and get the rest of it, thereby allowing you to let the trees grow as tall as they can, but still being able to get everything off of it. So I did that. So yeah, that's a whole lot of wood right there, which is really good for coal. Is awesome to find if you can find it, but charcoal is awesome because you get it just by burning wood. So you use the wood as a fuel to start the furnace, and then you fill it with wood, and in the end you end up with charcoal, which then you can turn around and continue to use as fuel. So you have a never-ending supply of fuel for your furnaces. And one of the things that I've found in doing, especially the Empire State Building, is that you end up with a lot of excess material, whether it be cobblestone or dirt or whatever. And I got tired of storing it for no reason, so I just started building random buildings around with the excess dirt. So, and this is just some of it to give you an idea about how much extra dirt I've come up with. Is just all this random stuff, just walking out to an area and just start throwing it down and start building random crap with it. Yeah. So there's all this. And again, so that's the archway that we went through to get down into the valley where everything started. I ended up closing off the valley and putting a door in it so that I could be at least somewhat safe, or at least I was trying to be anyway, to keep things from getting in there and blowing up my stuff, or walking into things blowing up my stuff. And yeah, this waterfall wasn't always here, so I'm thinking this may be also another addition from my spawn, which, you know, makes for a nice easy way to get up the side of a mountain. It's also another cool way to get a little bit of scale on how big things are. So yeah, that's the bridge that I built, which I thought was big at the time. And I mean, if I stand at the bottom of the valley, you can see it's no slouch. But then if you look at how big the Empire State Building is in comparison, it's going to be pretty massive, and you will be able to see it past all of this stuff when it gets to that point. Which will happen in time. Sometimes it's fun to come over here and see what the kids have going on. My son built himself a greenhouse, which is nice, very nice. Don't want to go snooping, don't want to let any dogs or whatever missing. There's Turner's house. And again, the mailbox. George puts stuff in the mailboxes. Sorry, buddy, it doesn't look like you have anything. George being my daughter, Georgia. Where is her house? Ah, that's her house. And again, that's looking down into the valley. And like I say, this bridge was built in survival mode. And you can see how severe the valley is that it's, or the hole is that it's traversing. So that's building. That was before they had bamboo scaffolding, which I still haven't used. I haven't found a supply of bamboo to try it with yet. So basically you just stack up dirt and just build off of the dirt, and that way when you're all done, the dirt's easy to get rid of and move down, and yeah, get rid of when you're done with it. And this is George's house. Turner putting up signs for everybody. I say I don't want to go in poking around because I'm pretty sure she has a dog in there, and I don't want to let it out. But yeah, they're always, yeah, let's go check it out. So they know all the stuff. They watch like Dan TDM and stuff like that. He's pretty cool. I like watching the Dan TDM videos. He's pretty funny. Oh, yep, there's the dog. And she has this thing, which is kind of cool. And trap door leading down to, let's go check it out. Sorry, George, I'm gonna be nosy. Ooh, that's fancy. Looking out onto the valley. Nice. Alright, I don't want to be nosy anymore. That's just rude. Alright. So, am I seeing that? Well, it is starting to get dark. So, go back over here to the White House. There's a patio area out the back of it that has a pretty cool view too. Oh, there's a couple of them. I need to find a good way to get feathers. I've never made any arrows, and that would be nice to have arrows. So, yeah. The lighting's kind of cool. Oh, yeah. So, entryways. So there's one. And then we'll go down and go through the other one right now. they're identical from one side to the other. But let's get some sleep first. What time is it? So you'll have to excuse me if I am rambling. My kids watched some of my videos, or at least tried to, and said they are very boring because I don't talk. So we decided that maybe I just need to think out loud. So that's where all this rambling is coming from. Yeah. So this is that big tunnel that I went up. Yeah. This goes down to all kinds of different things. I want to say it goes to the very bottom of the map itself, so all the way down to the bedrock. There's a few different things down there on the way down. Like, for instance, again, I started this map clean, but as I dug that tunnel, I actually got down to some really cool things, like built into the map. There's like a mining, like an abandoned mine. So there was webs and minecart tracks and structure, like somebody had, like in a mine, had built up a tunnel system. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, I just did all this recently because I got tired of trying to figure out a way to get upstairs. This is the entryway to the Empire State Building build. It's obviously big. I got to going along and decided it might be nice to have them matching on both sides. So they are identical from one side to the other, which, you know, took some work. And then I decided to start marking off measurements so I could refer to and kind of see how far away things are. So each one of these blocks, these pink blocks with a torch on top of them, are about 50 feet apart, which I want to say is not quite 17 meters. But yeah, that's what they're spaced apart at. As far as this way, which is, I want to say east to west. And then it's also 50 feet from the wall. So yeah, it's going to be somewhat of a grid system when it's set up. Yeah. And initially I had planted these trees so that I would have wood available to me if I needed it. While doing the build, and again, I'm in no shortage of stone for making tools, so I can climb to the next floor up and then just dig or grab an axe and just go all the way down and end up with tons of wood for building. Got a pretty decent number of furnaces here. I have no idea how many there are, and I've never actually had them all going at the same time, but I have been working on trying to get charcoal going, so I can build that up and smelt a bunch of stuff. Started labeling these pods of chests so I would know what was in them, that kind of stuff. Collecting stones for different uses. You can see here that this is all nothing I can remember right now. I don't remember what stone that is, but just something to break up the look. Initially I was just going to do everything in cobblestone, but that starts messing with your eyes eventually when you start looking at too many of these dots connected, and I thought this just looked better anyway. So yeah, that's that. So this is clear all the way to the wall. Eventually I need to start clearing all this out also. Then this will probably be open all the way to the top of the building, just to get some sunlight down so I can keep growing the wheat. as with the trees. I'll show you what that looks like up here a little bit. So this is the second floor, that being the third floor that I started building. We've got our glassed in area here and here. Lots of light sources around it in hopes of keeping mobs away from it that might damage it. When this was all a mountain, I actually had all of this stuff over here so that I wouldn't have to keep going back up to the White House. And this was all underground. I don't remember how I found it, but there was this water and some sand. I think I've covered up most of the, or done away with the sand, probably for glass. And then, yeah, just started opening it up. My idea of an indoor pool, and then the glass that looks down inside. It's kind of a cool effect. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this little stringer wall here altogether, because again, it was a mistake. It's not supposed to be there. And I'll eventually block this in, but for right now it's an easy way to get out of the building, so I can get up and on top of the wall on this side anyway. This is just going to be a continuous run up so that I can always get to the top of the wall when I go back to adding on to it. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to, add windows every so often and start building up, or as I'm building up, or if I just want to build all the way up, just solid, and then go in and start adding floors that reach clear to the edges. I told my kids that once I get some floors in, they can go in and build apartments, if that's what you want to call them, within it. This is the roof of the other entrance, so that's the main entrance. Oh, gotta clear that out over there. That's the main entrance that we came in when we came down from there. So this is the roof of the other entrance. It is, again, identical to that one on the other side. Get up here to the top of the wall. This is a marker that is supposed to mark a certain distance. I don't remember how far it is based on how I usually do things. I'm going to say it's probably 10 meters. Go up here and look at the water feature up here. So this, while I was digging or removing the mountain, I found this water in the middle of it, and at one point it was a pain in the butt because I hadn't quite figured out how to control the water yet and keep it in one place. So it went down and just messed up a bunch of stuff that I had going on at the time. But as you can see, it's pretty well contained now, and eventually it'll be incorporated into the building itself somehow. My kids on one of their other maps actually have full-on sewage, so you flip open a trap door and throw something in it, and it proceeds to, whatever you threw in, run down the water and out of the building through some tunnels. I was thinking the other day that might be kind of a fun thing to add to this somehow. Some more of my excess dirt building over there. So those blocks over there on the wall were intended to, they were points of reference for distance, and that was actually how I figured out at one point that I had gotten sidetracked and hadn't come over this direction far enough. So if you look at this line right here, that line right there, see how it runs all the way down through? That was where I had stopped, and then just started building from there. I didn't realize that, again, I must have gotten interrupted maybe and working on the mountain and taking everything down, and then I was doing something that needed to be centered. I don't remember what it was now. Realized that meters short of where I actually be based on the dimensions of the building. I had to go in all of it that was here and to the level of what everything else. And I am. It's not gonna happen. You know, you get busy, you forget what you're doing when you leave, and you come back, and you end up wasting a whole bunch of time. I guess it's not time wasted, because it all had to go anyway. Just a little annoying. So yeah, long-winded tour of what's going on right now. Hadn't planned on 40 minutes. I really just did this to see if I'd fixed my resolution option. On the, again, this is all done on PS4 also. Yeah, so that is pretty much it. I thought I had comments turned off, but I guess not, because I saw that somebody commented on a previous video, which is what prompted this one. So if you have any questions about how I'm doing it, or, you know, pretty much anything else, feel free to hit me up. Thanks, guys.